Hey there, if you're new to the channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about living in New Smyrna Beach, Florida or surrounding areas, you've come to the right place. My name is Matt Ekoff. I'm a local real estate expert, and I'm here to share everything from the hottest neighborhoods to the best places around town. Listen, we get phone calls, emails, text messages, Zoom invites every day from people just like you looking to move to the beach. So whether you want to look at move in 2 days, 20 days, or 200 days, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to help you move to the beach. Also, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you get all notifications and everything there is to know, all the updates about living in New Smyrna Beach and surrounding areas. Now today I'm going to do a rare map video. I think I've only done 1 or 2 of these videos before. I only do normally on bigger cities because you don't need to do it on smaller cities. We all kind of share the same highways and roads and stuff like that. But Daytona Beach is very, very, very famous, and I felt like it deserved its own map video. So today we're going to be doing a map video of Daytona Beach. So I'm going to go right into sharing my screen because, as you guys know, I like to be behind the camera, not in front of it. So I'd like the map to be up there into Daytona Beach. As you can see, here's our little Daytona Beach. So we're more northeast, central to northeast. We're about 3.5 hours away from Miami in Daytona Beach. We're probably 2.5 hours away from Tampa. I know it doesn't seem like it should be that much more because it's such short of a distance, but I'll tell you right here, that traffic from here to here, I don't care what time of day, I don't care what day of week. It could be Christmas Day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and this area right here is going to be bombarded with traffic. So it does take about 2.5 to 3 hours to get to Tampa. It takes about 3.5 hours to get to Miami. Daytona Beach is about 20 to 30 minutes from New Smyrna, which is right around here. And then we have Palm Coast. We have our oldest city in the country, St. Augustine. And then we have Jacksonville, which is about an hour 15 and an hour 30, depending on where you live in Daytona Beach. So in reference, this is where Daytona Beach is in the state. So now we're going to come into a closer view looking at it from Volusia County. So let's talk about the main highways. All right, 95. Most people in the entire country know 95. It runs south to north or north to south all the way up to Canada. I-4, which comes in right here. I-4 goes east to west, goes all the way to Tampa. I-4 stops right at 95. And then we have 92, which comes in from DeLand. 92, once you cross under 95, it becomes International Speedway, which then goes all the way to A1A, US 1, all the way to the end of the United States. So these are major ways of coming in. If you have some people coming over and across the state, you might come across 40 if they're coming from like Ocala or something like that, but I highly doubt that. I would say between 95 and I-4, probably 90% of the people that are coming into Daytona are traveling those ways. The other 10% is going to be people that are local. If you're coming from Ormond, or you're coming from New Smyrna, you're coming from Ponce Inlet, you're coming from Port Orange, you're coming from Edgewater, you're likely coming in on US 1, unless, well, depending on what area of Daytona that you're going into, but you're likely taking US 1, which goes through all of this. Once you cross over several bridges here going into Daytona Beach, then you have A1A, which always runs along Atlantic Avenue, North or South Atlantic, depending on where you're at in the city, will always run around the ocean. So these are our major highways and major roadways in Volusia County coming into Daytona Beach. So now let's go and let's look at a closer version of Daytona Beach, the one I'll probably spend the most time. We have some really, really, really big and really, really nice communities in Daytona Beach. We've done a video in the past, top 5 neighborhoods according to homes.com. We also did a Daytona Beach vlog, which we visit some of the houses and we actually dive a little bit deeper into some of the houses so you can see. This is a map video just to get a general idea of where everything's at. So I'm going to try, this looks pretty now on the screen, but it's going to look really, really ugly when I'm done with it because I want to try to show you everything that Daytona Beach has to offer. Even though it's a small town of 77,000 residents, not that much at all, there's a lot of big things and a lot of world-renowned things that we have that go on. So first one, when anybody thinks of Daytona, I think they think of Daytona 500. That is right here. It's almost dead in the middle of Daytona. International Speedway is right here and runs all down here. This is probably the major road in Daytona Beach. There's a lot of stoplights here, but there's a lot of stuff. There's a really, really great big outdoor mall right across, that's right here in this area with a movie theater, outdoor shopping, just a big outdoor experience, game center, stuff like that. There's hotels. There's a NASCAR hotel that's there. We have a Buc-ee's. The Buc-ee's is right here. We have a huge Tanger Outlet Mall which is right here, takes up a huge space. We have Bike Week, which is right down in this area. Actually, this is Main Street right here, so you can barely see it, but this is where Bike Week is. You think about Daytona in general, you got Daytona 500, you have Bike Week, you have Pepsi 400, and you have world's most famous spring break beach. I don't know if that's still the case for Daytona, but that's what they've called themselves in the past. And it does still say when you drive into Daytona Beach, world's most famous beach. So to be, again, such a small area to have so many different things to do is huge. But I will tell you, in Daytona Beach, the communities are really on the outskirts, kind of like hands of the clock, where in the middle of the clock it's blank. In the middle of the clock here is where all the attractions are. So there are some condos and stuff like that. I'll tell you, Ortona, for example, is right over in this area. There's a ton of condos and a ton of single family homes. It's one of the top neighborhoods in Daytona Beach. It's very walkable, heavy on nightlife. Got some really good schools, including Seabreeze High School, which is one of the top schools in the area, one of the top high schools in the area by far. So you have an area like this that has a lot of condos. Then you have stuff like Pelican Bay, which is here, which has 3,500 homes in Pelican Bay that go from anywhere from built in the 1980s all the way up until the early 2000s. Super established neighborhood, really heavy golf and country club, very affordable. Houses run anywhere from $115,000 to a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, a condo, all the way up to, on the high side, probably high 500s, but really big lots, really eclectic mix of homes. It's not a Florida style at all. I could be driving around that neighborhood and I could be really anywhere in the country and feel like I'm not in a beach town. So if you like the idea of a beach but you don't want a beach town, then Plantation Bay is probably the place for you. It's super convenient. It's also one of the only gated communities in Daytona Beach. And then you get into a lot of the newer sections. So you have all right here, you have Daytona Metroplex, which is like big car center. You have a Mercedes dealership there, you have a Toyota dealership, you have a BMW dealership, you have a Ford dealership. There are so many different dealerships. Daytona Auto Mall, I think, is what it's called. So you have that. You have, I've talked about, we have all right here is where we have the big outlet mall. There's the Tanger Outlet Mall. We have Margaritaville, that's over here. We have FTC, Florida Tennis Center, which is right here. That also has Mosaic, which is right here, another country club. But all this area right here where this road is, LBTA Boulevard, it goes from 92 to 95 and then across 95. This area is blowing up. This is all LPGA. This is where your Margaritaville is here. I think it said it was up here, but it's not. It's more like right here. Again, Mosaic is over here. You have a ton of stuff. And then you have your regular beaches. You have Port Orange and Wilbur by the Sea. So this is Ponce Inlet area. I'm actually going to go out just a tiny bit. So I would also say that Daytona Beach it's pretty much the center of, we'll call it the Space Coast. And that's what most people call it, because we do have NASA and we have SpaceX and everything that's down here, just a little bit south of here, just a little bit south of, there's Ponce Inlet Lighthouse. So right on the other side, literally right here, is where New Smyrna Beach starts. So Daytona Beach is the center and the mecca of all the East Coast on this side. I would say all the way from pretty much south of Jacksonville Beach area down to probably Cocoa Beach. Daytona Beach is the center. Again, the population wise, it's not a lot, well under 100,000, but there are so many things to do. Nightlife is super high. The schools are pretty decent in Daytona. The one thing about Daytona that is a con, and you can watch our pros and cons video that we have on Daytona Beach. One of the things that's a con about Daytona Beach is the crime and safety is a little bit higher than some of the other areas, but I'm going to say that's probably similar to most big areas. I mean, if I think of, Dallas, I'm sure there's some areas in Dallas that are worse than areas outside of Dallas, like South Lake and Colleyville. If I thought of Atlanta, Georgia, I'd probably think of, Atlanta's probably a lot more dangerous in places like Cartersville and things like that. Jacksonville is probably a lot more dangerous than Jacksonville Beach or Palm Coast. So I think, and same thing, Miami. Oh my gosh, Fort Lauderdale is so much safer than actual Miami. So I would say Daytona Beach is probably that equivalent to a large city, but in the East Coast, because we're not a big area. So another fun fact about Daytona Beach is it is a drivable beach, and it's where the original race started. It was actually down in this area right here where they would do a drive, and they would start on the road and they would drive down A1A and then drive on the beach and then back around, and they would do this oval. I'm not sure if they did it 500 times, but until they decided to buy themselves a big area of space, which I don't even know how many square miles or square meters that is, but Daytona 500, it's It's unbelievable. I've been to Indianapolis 500. I've been to the Fort Worth, and wherever they do the racing for Fort Worth at the Fort Worth Speedway, or maybe it's Dallas Speedway, but it's in Fort Worth. It's nothing compared to Daytona 500. That place is so huge. So anyway, this is the map video. It's not long. I wanted to talk about, some of the basic things to get in and out. We have our major roads, which is again 95, which runs north to south. We have 40 that's kind of coming from Ocala and anybody on the west coast of Florida. We have I-4 that's coming in from the southwest, so Tampa, Orlando, Winter Park, Lake Mary, all that's coming up here. 92 is coming up, DeLeon Springs, DeLand, any of that is coming up here. And then they're all pretty much ending up probably right here on International Speedway to go to the beach, which then you have all your attractions basically right here. A million putt-putt golf courses, go-kart places, just all kind of stuff to do. One of those slingshot things that I would pass out over and over again on if it shot me up on one of those things. So Daytona's got a lot to offer. This thing looks ridiculous when I'm looking at it on screen, but hopefully it helped you out figure out what's in Daytona and how to get to Daytona and where about Daytona's at, and reference to all the other cities in the area. I really like Daytona. We don't personally live there because we have a young daughter, and so the schools are better in New Smyrna than they are in Daytona. Nothing against Daytona. Seabreeze High School is a phenomenal high school. So if you have an opportunity to go there or mainland, they're both really, really great schools with some professional athletes that have come out of both. But you're going to find some great places because you have too many big things. You have Volusia County School Board that is in Daytona Beach. You have Advent Health that's huge in Daytona Beach. You have Embry-Riddle University, which is right outside of Plantation Bay. So you have Embry-Riddle University. If you work for the Daytona 500, it's a huge area for you. So there's a lot of really big things in Daytona, even though it's a small town. So hopefully this helps you out. Listen, we get calls, emails, text messages from people every day looking for a place in Volusia County and New Smyrna Beach and Daytona Beach, like you, every day looking for a place to move to the beach. So let us help you move to the beach, whether it's 2 days, 20 days, or 200 days. We'd love to help you move to the beach. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to get all notifications and all updates about New Smyrna Beach and surrounding areas. Until next time, thank you so much. We'll see you guys.